In this lesson, we'll talk about why you need an earned media strategy, what is required to develop one, and time-honored ways to stay in the news once your campaign is off the ground. What is earned media? It's what some call a free press strategy. It's ink and airtime you don't have to pay for. It's your message filtered through and disseminated by reporters, bloggers, TV and radio stations. You need one because it's a cheap and inexpensive way to communicate with voters. If you're running a low-budget campaign and don't have enough money to buy ads or send persuasion mail, it may be the only way to communicate your message to voters. Too often I see candidates who regard reporters as nuisances to be endured, or in some cases a hostile force to be avoided. So at the outset, let me say that approach will not get you anywhere and will bring you and your campaign nothing but grief. The press has a job to do, and they're going to do their job whether you like it or not. If you take a passive, hands-off approach to the media, you'll be doing yourself and your campaign a disservice. Voters do pay attention to and are influenced by things other than your paid political advertising. In fact, they trust what they read in the newspaper far more than what they see in your TV ads or mail pieces. Furthermore, the press will not react well if you avoid them. In fact, they will assume that you have something to hide, or that you're afraid of difficult questions, or that you can't defend your positions. If they come to that conclusion, they will make your life difficult. Finally, if you have no earned media strategy, you'll be squandering a cheap and inexpensive means of disseminating your message to the public. Where to start in developing an earned media plan? 1. Inventory the news outlets. The first step in constructing a free press strategy is to inventory every media outlet in your district, every daily and weekly newspaper, magazine, blog, radio station, cable and commercial television station. Next, take a look at the media outlets outside your district that are widely read, heard, or viewed by a substantial number of your would-be constituents. Get the names of the reporters, their contact info, and the names of the bookers and producers for the TV and radio hosts, plus any important columnists or guest commentators that often show up on the editorial pages of newspapers. You now have a press list. Those who should receive your press releases, news about your campaign, copies of your speeches, or opinion pieces that you share with newspapers. 2. Do your homework. Know the reporters before you meet them. Inventory your press list and decide who are the most important reporters and do your homework. Before you talk with a reporter, learn everything you can about them. Where they were raised, where they earned their degrees, their special interest. Look at their social media posts. Inventory the stories they've written and look at their style. Are they the kind of reporter who does real investigative journalism, or are they satisfied to quote from press releases they're fed or the blogs they read? There is no such thing as an objective reporter. Objective journalism is an oxymoron. Reporters are human, and just like you, they have minds that think and opinions on issues of our time. Inevitably, their biases will make their way into stories they write, the questions they ask of candidates, and the way they cover them. The more you know about the reporter, the better prepared you will be. 3. Stay in the news. In the previous lesson, we talked about staying in the news during the days after your announcement. Campaigns, however, are a long haul, and it is imperative to be vigilant about ways to advance your cause in your campaign by making yourself newsworthy. How do you get attention? Think in terms of pictures, attacks, polls, and mistakes. Usually one of those 4 will perk the attention of newspaper reporters or radio and television bookers. A little about each of these. Pictures are news and more effective than mere words in a story. I once sent a presidential candidate to visit a hog farm in Iowa, and a picture of him holding a baby pig was on the front page of every newspaper the next day. Want to highlight your compassion for the poor? Don't do a press release. Invite the press to get a picture of you serving the hungry in a soup kitchen. Getting an endorsement from an important labor group? Stage a photo op with members of the union at a construction site. Getting an endorsement from an environmental group? Have the press conference at some bucolic setting with trees, a lake, or a river in the background. What if the press doesn't show up at your photo op? Have your staff take pictures and put them out with a release to the media. Attacks. In the presidential race of 2016, candidate Carly Fiorina ventured to South Carolina and appeared outside a hotel where Hillary Clinton was doing an event. As Fiorina belted Clinton for hiding from the press and took questions of her own, the story was beamed across the country and appeared in countless newspapers the next day. Thereafter, CNN did a very flattering story that included rave reviews. In fact, Miss Fiorina received more attention from this one event than the rest of the presidential field combined that week, and earned priceless headlines in America's most prominent blog site. It's okay to go after your opponent and to dog your opponent on the campaign trail, to show up at their events, or stage your own where you highlight your differences on an issue, or do an event with people who would be hurt by your opponent's policies. It is a time-honored way to get attention. Polls. Capitalize on them when they demonstrate that you are gaining steam or when they show that your opponent is losing ground. When poll numbers are your hook, highlight the reasons you are gaining ground, such as the differences you have with your opponent on an important issue, or the reason your opponent is losing ground, citing some unpopular position or a mistake they have made. Mistakes. When your opponent makes one, exploit it and use it to your advantage. In the 2016 presidential race, Jeb Bush flubbed an easy question on Iraq and kept the flub in the news by flubbing it for 3 straight days. It did not take long for his competitors to make news by articulating clear positions on the war and gaining ground at Bush's expense. Likewise, at a fundraiser in 2012, Mitt Romney said that 47% of the people in America were on public assistance. It was captured on video, and the Obama White House quickly pounced on Romney's mistake. What can you learn from these 2 examples? Bush should have anticipated that question and should have been prepared with an answer. After he made the mistake, it took him 3 days to own it, which kept the story alive. Had he admitted his mistake quickly, the story would have died within a day. As for Mr. Romney's mistake, it was this: smartphones are everywhere. When you are in public, don't say things that make you look crass or ill-informed. These are tried and true ways of getting attention from the press: pictures, attacks, polls, mistakes. No campaign is complete without an earned media plan. If you don't have one, you are missing a priceless and inexpensive way to keep your campaign in the news, and clips and footage you can send to supporters that show you're getting good press attention. You heard me mention some ideas about how to stay in the news. Create a few of your own. Make a list of 8 things you might do after your formal announcement: press conferences, photo ops, endorsements from prominent people in your jurisdiction, to keep attention focused on your campaign. This concludes the lesson. If you have questions, please email me at jay@jaytownsend.com. I'll see you in the next lesson.